This video is brought to you by McCaw's Quilting and Handy Quilter. Hi, I'm Sherry Driver. Today I'm going to show you how to do a couple fun things on the long arm machine. Continuous curves and a really simple, fun little vine that you can do. I'm going to stitch continuous curves in the piece squares here, and I've done some of it already. So I'm just going to pick up where I've left off. I'm using the ruler. I put the ruler base on the machine that's going to keep the ruler nice and flat. This is a special ruler that's made for long arm quilting. It's 1/4 of an inch thick. Don't use something that's not made for a long arm machine, because a thinner piece of plastic will just break. Break a needle or something. So I'm just placing the ruler on here, the curve, keeping in mind that the needle of the machine stitches about 1/4 of an inch away from the curve. So I'm trying to place the curved ruler so that I can stitch so that the needle will come right into the intersection of the squares. And because I've done part of this already, I'm just kind of making up my map as I go as to where to sew next to be able to stitch continuously. Because the squares are diagonal, it's not the simplest route ever to do on this machine. So like I said, I'm making it up as I go, and if I sew myself into a corner, I'll just end the stitching and start over again somewhere else. And the machine has kind of a cruise control when it ends, so I can slowly stitch the needle right into the corner and then stop the machine to reset the needle. I already stitched that one, so I'm going to go this way. I just want you to see that no matter where you've already stitched, there's a place you can go. And if you sew yourself into a corner, you just cut off the thread and start over again. The diagonal sets with squares are a little bit more complicated to figure out the path. And it takes a while to figure out just how much you have to pull the ruler off from the square to get the needle to end at the intersection of the squares. So that's kind of how that works, and you just keep going that way until you've got your squares all stitched. So this is a really simple vine that you can do to fill a border. I just marked the center line, which I'm not going to quilt exactly on that line, but I'm going to use it as a guide for where to change direction. And I'm just doing kind of a long stem with a curl on it, trying to fill the space. And sometimes you need to do 2 curls on the same side just to keep it filling right. So all I've marked is the center line vine, and just doing these curls along here. It's kind of a precursor to feathers, much more free form, little more modern, a lot less fussy than completely marking things, and a really, really fun way to fill a pretty little border. If you cross over yourself on the spiral or the curl, that's absolutely fine. In fact, I think it gives it a little bit more dimension. And when I'm filling up to this corner where it turns, there are a couple different ways you can think about this. The curls on the inside, I've only made them go halfway so far, but you can come all the way around like this and fill in that whole space. And now I'm going to do a lot of curls on the outside. You want to play on paper first to see how you want to handle the corners. And if your four corners aren't the same, it really doesn't matter because it's such a free-form kind of a design. I'm going to come over here. You want to be sure you're filling all of the space of the border. So you get up as close to that seam at the top as you can. You'll see that the curls change size and shape as you go along. So it's kind of fun, kind of like drawing. And that's how you do a simple curl border. So with a little bit of practice, you can do these continuous curves in this sweet little vine. It's really adaptable for different size spaces. This video is brought to you by McCaw's Quilting and Handicraft.